Hey gorgeous, today I am going to show you a bunch of seeds that I got in the mail. It is the end of December and I already have most of my seeds ordered. If you're new here, my garden is located in central Indiana. I'm in zone 6 and I have a home gardener. I do a small, very small roadside stand, and I also just this year 2025 rented a space at a community garden. So I have a little bit more space than I normally would, even though my backyard is like super small. Slowly I'm taking over the grass, but I'm going to show you all of the things that I got. These are not all of the seeds that I'm going to be growing for 2026. These are just the new package that I got and some free ones. So today you get to see all of them. These right here are 2 varieties of cosmos that I am going to start. I am going to start double click cranberries. Those are probably my favorite type of cosmos. They just work really well for bouquets. I really like the double blooms on them, and they really have done really well for me. I did start these guys last year for a bunch of cut flowers, but I have grown these guys before for the past few years. I am also going to grow double click snow puff, and those are basically just like cranberries but in white, and sometimes you might get like a soft pink one, and these are like really cool. Again, I love them. I want to show you these guys. I got a bunch of these craspedia ones. These are the yellow drumstick craspedia, and I am going to be new for growing these guys in my garden. Mainly I want to grow them for cut flowers, but I also want to see if I have enough germination. I want to grow them for selling at my seedling sale. If you grow or if you have experience growing these guys, please let me know. Give me a few tips. The one thing that I know is that germination is tricky because it can take up to 21 days to get seeds to germinate. So pretty much they're like peppers. They take their sweet time. But hopefully I can grow a bunch of these. I got 3 packages from Baker Creeks and each package has 50 seeds. So I have plenty. I am going to, I don't know how quick they're going to grow after they germinate, but I'm going to do a couple of batches just so that I have a couple of options to see which size I can sell for the seedling sale. And hopefully this guy does well for me. I do have a couple of these shishito peppers. These are not in any order. I'm just throwing a bunch of them here. I do have a couple of these shishito peppers. I grew this guy. I have grown this guy for a few years, and last year I also sold them at my seedling sale. They weren't that popular, I should say, for the seedling sale. I do like them, but I am not going to add them to my seedling sale this coming year. So I am just going to grow them for myself and for my sister-in-law that loves these guys. I have a bunch of peppers. Okay, so before I lose track of them, I am going to also start these cosmos from Johnny's. This is the first time that I'm going to be growing this type. These are afternoon white. I don't have any pictures. I'm going to post one here on the screen. I really think that these are going to be adorable for growing in the garden, growing in between perennials, in between shrubs, and I am going to sell some at the seedling sale. I do want to have 3 varieties of cosmos, just like I did last year. Last year I sold 3 varieties, cranberries, snow puff, and ruvensa. Personally, I don't enjoy ruvensa, mainly because I didn't think they were the best for the roadside stand, for the bouquets that I was making for the roadside stand. But in the garden, in any flower bed, I think they would be great. But I do want to try afternoon white. I think they're going to be really cool. And I do have a bunch of peppers. That some of them are new for me, some of them I'm just going to try it again. I'm going to start with this cheltepin pepper. I got a bunch of seeds. I got 3 of them. They're only come with 15 seeds each package, but this is a super spicy, tiny round pepper. I am going to give a bunch of these seeds to my mother because she grows this kind like almost exclusively. These guys and jalapenos. She makes a paste with these guys, And I mean, they're super spicy. I don't grow them because there's just, I cannot handle this amount of spiciness. So I am going to give her a bunch of these seeds, but I'm also going to sell, I'm going to just add maybe like 10 or so plants to the seedling sale, and we'll see how they do. Last year was the first year that I did my seedling sale, 2025. Depending when you're watching this video, this year or next year, I had success with selling a bunch of things. One of those were jalapenos. I didn't think that jalapenos were going to be that popular at the seedling sale, but they were. And what I got from people were that they really wanted different varieties of peppers. So I am not going to go like super crazy with a bunch of pepper plants, but I'm just going to add a few varieties. Here's another kind. Actually, this was a free one, so even perfect. Ají chumbo pepper. This is supposed to be a actually a little bit more spicy than jalapeno. So I may actually try one plant for myself and see how they do. But I'm definitely going to have this for the sale. And I'm going to try these guys. I have not grown them before. These are pumpkin spice jalapeno peppers. So again, I just got one package. It has 25 seeds. I'll probably grow a couple plants for myself and throw like maybe 5 or 10 for the seedling sale, because I don't want to have a bunch of these guys left over from the seedling sale. So these are going to be fine, really fun to start. And I have grown this guy, lemon drop pepper, before a couple of years ago. It's very productive, very spicy. I didn't pick up any lemon flavor personally, but the plants were super productive. So I may not even, I don't think that I'm going to grow this for myself, but definitely for the seedling sale. And I'm sure they have a bunch of more peppers here and there. Let me show you the nasturtiums. These nasturtiums, these are the cherry rose jewel nasturtium. I think that I am going to add them again for my seedling sale, because last year I only have a few plants and they sold out. I didn't think that people really wanted nasturtium seedlings, but they did great. So I am going to add a couple of these, and I'm definitely going to grow a bunch for myself, because I can just spot these guys anywhere. Another one that I'm going to repeat, I didn't grow these guys this year, 2025, but I did in 2024. This is Malabar spinach. These guys took off for me. They really did great where I had them. I started them from seed. I had no problems starting them from seed. Nothing special, really. And they performed really well. If you have not heard about Malabar spinach, it's pretty much a summer spinach. It grows as a vine, and it likes to take over. Actually, I did have some volunteers this year in 2025 from the plants from last year. And I personally don't enjoy the flavor that much, but I am going to grow them for the seedling sale, because people may be interested in growing this in their own garden. Okay, I have a couple of here. I am going to grow, well, I can't show you the picture. I am going to grow these giant orange marigolds. I grew them this year for the first time in 2025. The plants were very productive, very tall, and they were amazing for cut flowers. And I really think that I'm just going to keep this variety. There was another variety, I can't quite recall. I didn't like the shade of orange that it gave me, but I really like this kind. So what I'm going to do for marigolds this year, and something that I find out this year for making bouquets, is that once the plants are smaller, I can use them as foliage. I don't have to wait for them to give me blooms to use them in my bouquets. Foliage from marigolds is really amazing for bouquets. And what I didn't know also is that you can root those cuttings that you take, or those stems that you take. They will easily root in the water. So if you cut some foliage from marigold plants and put them in bouquets, once you put them in your vase with water, they may root for you. So free plants. So I am going to grow only this variety. Last year I also grew a bunch of the white marigolds, the Kilimanjaro marigolds. And I do have some of those seeds, and I am going to grow those for the seedling sale, just enough. But I may actually, I don't even know how many seeds I have here, 250 seeds. I am definitely going to grow a few of these guys for the seedling sale. Again, I'm going to just have a little bit more variety of things, but not in that many quantities. Okay, so these guys, I'm very excited. These are Aunt Molly's ground cherries. I am going to grow them for myself again. They did really well for me here in Central Indiana, but I'm also going to add them for the seedling sale. So if you came to my seedling sale last year here in Central Indiana, these are going to be available there. I'm very excited. I think people are really gonna like that. As I mentioned, this year, 2025, I went and I rented space, a couple of rows at my community garden. And I have a bunch of that space available. I am thinking that I am going to grow my dahlias there exclusively. I'm thinking that a whole row just for dahlias is going to be plenty for myself. But I also have an extra row. So I'm thinking that I am going to grow things that I normally wouldn't grow in my own backyard because I don't have the space. I have a very, very small space. So things that take a lot of space, like squash, butternut squash. I love this kind, by the way. I am going to grow at the community garden. I am going to grow this melon. I don't know whose YouTube video I watched that were harvesting this type of melon, and I told myself that I was going to grow it one day. Well, hopefully 2026 is the year. Hopefully I can get a few of them. Oh my gosh, these ones are so popular. I love them. I have grown them for many years. Kajari melons. Definitely, if you have kids, these guys are just so sweet, so amazing, and they're very productive. Thinking if I grow like a couple of one, a couple of the other, I can have plenty of fruit. Let's see. So I talk about the Kilimanjaro marigolds. Again, just a few for the seedling sale, not for my garden. And I am going to grow, I don't know if I'll do this, I'm still thinking about it. Many years I think about studying my own pumpkins for decorating outside. Let me just show you. I have this guy right here. This is a flat white squash. I think I am still deciding if I really want to grow these guys just for having be a piece of the core. But look at this. I think that you are able to eat these guys. Not sure. Look at this guy. Isn't that so cute? And this one I think is just a very popular one. So again, I'm still deciding. I have to do a little bit more research for myself for these types. I don't know. I'll have to look at it. If I'm able to eat some of these varieties, and I may grow a couple of them. But I'm not too crazy about them at this time. And when you order from bakers, you get sometimes a bunch of free seeds. I get a lot of carrots, honestly. Carrots and lettuce, which, I mean, I don't mind. They're free. Okay, let's see what we have here on this side. So I do have a bunch of zinnias that I saved from my own garden. The types that I saved were from the Aurora from Johnny's that I purchased last year. We'll see what kind of plants I get from those. And the other type were ballerina, I believe. So we'll see what kind of blooms I get from those. But I always go back to ordering the Queenie mix. Queenie mix or the Queen mix. I really like that type. I really like that vintage old school type of zinnia. But I also went and ordered myself a bunch of zinnias and celosia from Florette. When she, a couple of months ago, I think it was a couple of months ago, she opened her shop for seeds, and I knew that I wanted to get zinnias from her. So we'll see how they do. I think that I'm going to receive those in February, if I'm not wrong. And hopefully I can give an update in how the germination went, or how it goes, and what kind of blooms I get. I know that many people that I saw, that I follow online, had problems with Florette zinnias germination. So fingers crossed that, I get a good batch. So I have Feverfew. Feverfew, I got a bunch of these seeds, you guys. I got 250 seeds, which is amazing that they fit in this tiny, tiny little piece of paper. Feverfew Magic single variety. Those are just a single variety. I love them. I grew them for the first time in 2025. I actually do have a video of how I went from starting the seeds to harvest. So if you want to watch that, I'll put it somewhere on the description. But I really fell in love with this. It was super simple to grow. It's one of those flowers that you start early, so they start developing the roots early in the season. And I just love them. I just love them. A couple of things that I'm going to be doing different for Feverfew this year is that, one, I am going to start them, I am going to give them a couple of successions. So I'm going to start them, I think that I did these guys early in January. I can't remember exactly. But I'm going to do at least 3 weeks after each. So I'm going to have 2 or 3 successions, 3 weeks in between. But also, the plants that I grew last year, I let them go to seed and I didn't remove them. I just cut them to ground level when they were all dead in the fall. And they look, right now, they look really nice. I'm gonna see if I can go grab a clip outside and I'll show you at the end of December how the Feverfew that I grew from seed early in the year, that I planted early in the spring, is doing right now. Because I think, fingers crossed, I think that I'm going to have those plants come back from me. And I don't know, I never grew it before, but if you have grown Feverfew before, how does it go for you? Does it come back? Does it reseed? Let me know. And I am going to be grabbing a bunch of cucumbers. I really do want to have a bunch more vegetables this time, especially now that I have more space at the community garden. I am definitely going back to growing a bunch more vegetables, and I love cucumbers, especially the soft skin, the ones that don't have many seeds. I am going to try this guy. I'm not really sure which kind it is because I don't have the pictures. This is Quick Snack F1. I got them from Johnny's. Hopefully I get some good productive ones from here. And I know that I grew these guys before and these were probably my favorite. These were like super long and they have, the skin wasn't spiky or anything like that, and there weren't that many seeds in the fruit. This one is unagi. I'm going to see if I can have a clip or 2 of the ones that I harvest because I love them. So I am going to do cucumbers. Again, I'm going to plant a couple at the beginning of May. I'm going to wait until June. I'm going to plant a couple in different spots so that I can have plenty of cucumber throughout the season. But before I continue with this video, I opened a Facebook group, private Facebook group, that is for people who want to start growing plants from seed, flowers, vegetables. If you want to start doing that this year and maybe want to be in a group of people who are doing it along with you, or if you have been growing for 10, 20, 30 years from seed, you're welcome to join. I am going to leave the name on the screen here somewhere, but I am also going to add the link in the video's description. If you want to join, this is your invitation. All right, so I have more cosmos there apparently. Oh, this one I am very, very excited. I am going to start here very soon, actually, probably at the beginning of January. I am going to start Foxgloves. I am going to start 2 types, and these are the types that bloom the first year. Now, I'll mention a note on that. I am starting this Camelot Lavender F1. It's going to be a nice soft purple, and obviously Dalmatian Peach. I grew Dalmatian Peach, I believe, last year. Now, I have grown the Foxglove that say, you know, they bloom on the first year. You're supposed to start them from seed, you put them outside, and they're supposed to bloom for you the first year. However, I have been in the position many times where I start these plants, I take them out when it's nice and warm outside, and they don't do anything. So one thing that I have noticed personally where I grow, in my location, the way that I do things, and I say all of that because I don't want to have somebody else that lives in a different zone, completely opposite climate from mine, saying something different. That's what I say. This is what works for me. I do have to grow these guys early enough in the year so that I can get them big enough so that I can plant them outside when it's still cold outside. For me, I am going to grow them at the beginning of January so that at the beginning of March here in central Indiana, I can plant them outside. They are able to handle cold temperatures. They should be fine. If I do have a day where it's like super terrifying in the minus degrees here in central Indiana, I may throw like a frost cloth or something like that to protect them. But they're fine with snowstorms. They're fine with cold temperatures. And I have found that when I do that, when I plant them early enough, they bloom beautifully for me. So I am going to start a bunch of these because I do want them everywhere for my garden. I am not going to do this for the seedling sale because by the time that I have the seedling sale, which will be at the end of April, these guys will already be established, will already be at least a couple of months in the ground. So that's that. I am going to also do a bunch of successions of bupleurum. Bupleurum was new for me last year. I actually started a few indoors because I wanted to see how the germination went. I did have to do something extra for the seeds. I did have to provide them with a little bit of a cold stratification, and also I have to give them a long period of darkness. This is how I pretty much did have success with bupleurum. I prepare my containers or my soil blocks, however you're growing them. In this case, I am going to grow them in the 1/4-inch size soil blocks. You know what I'm talking about, the very small ones. I am going to put the seeds in there, and then I am going to put them in a Ziploc bag. I'm going to spray them with a little bit of water so they have some moist, and then I'm going to put them in the freezer in a Ziploc bag, completely sealed, for 1 day. After that 1 day, I'm going to take it outside. I'm going to open that Ziploc bag just a little bit, and then I'm going to keep it somewhere dark, somewhere cool. I am not going to worry about lights. Now, what it did for me last year is that about 7-8 days later, after being outside of the freezer, they started germinating. Now, at that point, I'll move them into in my grow room under my LED lights, and they'll just grow from there. And that's how I'm going to grow bupleurum. I am going to do a couple successions. I am going to grow those for my bouquets because they were just amazing. I do have a bunch of Snapdragons. I went a little bit crazy with Snapdragons only because last year and the year before, they didn't germinate that well for me. So I have 4 different varieties. I have the Canes Orange. This is a group 2 to 3. I think that I grew these guys early, and when I mean early was like January, February, to plant them early. I think that I had really good results with this one, and I was watching some of my clips, and these are the ones that I started. Hopefully I can get this to grow beautifully again. I have Madame Butterfly. I am not really sure what group this one is, but I am going to grow it again at the same time that I do these other guys. I have this Costa mix. This is a group 2. Again, I'm going to grow them early. I am going to just throw a bunch of them and see which one performs better. And I have this, oh my gosh, I'm going to totally say this wrong, Avignon Silver. And hopefully this do great. I have no clue how this one is going to do for me, but I am going to give him a couple of successions because I do want to see if I can get them also for early summer, maybe the bigger groups, and hopefully that works for me well with Snapdragons. I mean, I have grown Snapdragons for years for my garden, and they have always done great. But the year that I decided to grow them for cut flowers, they just kind of failed me. I do have this Mexican sunflower. I love this plant. This is such a quick grower in my garden, and it's not tricky to start from seed. If you want to plant the bees, all the pollinators, and the hummingbirds absolutely love this plant. Grow Mexican flower because you are not going to regret it. This is the red one. I believe this is the red one. I need to order the yellow variety from Pine Trees. That one is the next one before I forget about it. I'm actually going to write it down. I do want to offer both the yellow and the red for the seedling sale, but I also want to grow them for myself. I think that if I grow a few of them for my garden, I have a section where I think they're going to do amazing. Okay, this one is Luffa seeds. I got a package that it has 30 seeds. Now, I grew Luffa before, and yes, it takes time, and yes, it did amazing for me. I mean, it took pretty much the entire season. The thing about Luffas is that they need plenty of time to grow in order to develop fruit. I'm thinking that I'm going to do a couple for the seedling sale. I don't know how well people are going to respond to having Luffas. And honestly, they take so long to grow inside. I probably need to start these guys like early in February to sell them late in April. So it's a long time for me to grow them. But I think that will be fun to have them for the seedling sale. I do not think that I am going to keep any for myself. So if I have any leftovers, maybe I'll take them to the community garden. I have more Genovese basil because you can never have enough basil. And honestly, Genovese basil is the only type of basil that I grow. I know that you have lemon basil, cinnamon basil. I just love this kind. I don't really use them for my bouquets. I don't think that I want to. I think that I have plenty of choices in my garden for foliage. And talking about foliage, Mahogany Splendor. My goodness, these guys did so well for me here in central Indiana. I believe that I had 12 plants last year, and I grew that at the community garden, and they did amazing. I probably was okay growing only 6 plants for the bouquets, if I'm being honest, but they did so well. And last year I wasn't planning to have this for the community sale, for the seedling sale, but I think that I had about 12 plants extra that I knew I wasn't going to need, and I sold them at the seedling sale, and they sold out. Like, I even had one person come the day before from like out of town. Like, she only wanted dahlia tubers and hibiscus seedlings, and they did so well. So I am going to grow a bunch for myself. I have 100 seeds here, so I am probably just going to keep maybe like 10 for myself, and then I'll probably do a whole tray of 32 plants of hibiscus. So if you're coming to the seedling sale, let me know. And these guys, oh my goodness, I think these were probably the most expensive ones. These are Purple Majesty grasses, and I love these guys. I love them. They're so easy and they're so quick to grow as a seedling. I am going to add a bunch to my garden this year again. For containers, they do amazing. I'm thinking I'm going to add a bunch to the front containers, the curtain steel planters that I have that are big. I'm going to grow a bunch for myself, but I'm also going to add them to the seedling sale. And I do have 50 seeds here, so probably not that many for the seedling sale now that I'm looking that I only got 50 seeds. So that's it for this video. I do have other seeds arriving in February from Foliage. But I'm pretty sure that I'll be watching somebody's YouTube video, and I am going to order a few more. Again, these are not all the seeds that I am growing in 2026. I have a bunch of seeds that I save from my own garden. I have a bunch of seeds that I have from last year that I definitely do not need to order more. These are just some other new packages and things. I hope that you enjoyed this video. I hope that if you're thinking about studying seeds and wanna, join other people that are doing the same, I hope that you think about joining the Facebook group. Thank you for being here, you guys, and I will see you on the next time.